Johnny Tsunami. That is going to be bot lane separated, and that's going to be a nice bit of damage coming out from Dax as he manages to shred apart the poor Seta, and then in the top lane.
It's fine. I mean, there's not much PJ Salt can do. He can do something now, though.
He's getting caught out. He's going to have to jump away to go into Dragon Form in order to try and stay alive. Godex Aminate getting a lot of damage up, but that is going to be a killing spree for Dax as he manages to take down Xin Zhao. Jaffe is trying to survive, does somehow manage to stay alive by the skin of his teeth.
Oh, man, I feel for Wash.
Just silences that turret. I feel like there was a bit of a miscommunication from Washed on that, which resulted in a lot of damage coming out that they just didn't want to see. That shot from downtown, the auto attack rocket coming out from Jinx, managing to take out poor Tsunami. Tsunami's going to go down. That's going to be pulled in by Godex Anime, pulled into the background. And look at this. This is just Baby very smartly in order trying to take him out of the equation because he hasn't been the deadliest. Do manage to hit him before the silence comes out. So that means that unfortunately Lure is going to have to rely on auto attacks. But the thing is, it's a Jinx. That's all Jinx does. They just auto attack you to death. And look at that. We got Xin Zhao getting taken off on the side as we see Peace Weezy coming off for the flank. Meantime, Luru manages to pick up the kill onto Tom Kench. Volibear jumping on top of Dax, or Dax jumping on top of Ari, taking them out of the equation. So that is 4 members. All right, folks, welcome back. That was quite an interesting game of League of Legends, but now your friendly neighborhood shoutcaster Shargan joining you once again, and I have got with me again on the caster's desk Lolo. Looking ahead though, Lolo, we've got Art of War Esports versus Rapidly Losing Sanity, who are making me go out of my mind with continually changing the name.
I think it should have been Rob last season. That was my call for the new RLS, but there is some history. Let's note there's some history. I was talking with Oriri prior to this, and Oriri said, "We want revenge for last season's semis. We want finals this time. We're gonna win." There is rivalry here for sure. These teams have met before in FOF in playoffs, no less. And whilst we see some new faces on both sides, I think this is going to be a spicy matchup for sure.
I completely agree. Oriri, as we mentioned on the Friend or Foe Lounge, which you can go watch on our YouTube page, we were saying they have a tendency to have a bit of a rotating comp. That's not a knock on the team. That's just kind of like, unfortunately, they've had some really bad luck with like computers dying and things of that nature. So It's going to be really interesting to see if this entire team is able to kind of hang in for the long haul. They do have Gecko for their coach, which is going to be a really big help. Fantastic player from the Mythic season last year, not Mythic season, sorry. They were just absolutely phenomenal players, so it's going to be really exciting to see how they elevate Art of War's games. And then with that, we've already ready to jump into this game, it looks like.
So let's just note a couple of things that have come up here. So we are going to see the Volibear being taken away. This was an RLS special, was the first beat Volibear. We didn't see it this time around because they are on red sides. They did opt in. We did see before jumping in that there was a Jinx Thresh priority there with the Zeri being banned. I think someone actually in the chat in the previous game noted that we are seeing Zeri bans but no Jinx bans. So the Jinx on red side is being picked up very quickly, which is very, very sensible. The champion is absolutely atrociously strong at the moment. It is the best AD carry there is in League of Legends right now. And let's note also that we are seeing... there were a few things banned away. I mean, War Leader's on the Zac, which is comfort for sure. The Corki was taken away from Pengu. Pengu's been another FOF veteran, of course. Everyone on RLS is. We are seeing. We should know.
I think I've got the actual draft as right now because it's like if we hop over to the Twitch chat, looks like we've got Corki, Jhin selected so far, as well as Jinx and Thresh. So we're kind of a little bit of a lag at the moment.
Okay, no worries then. Hold on. So. The Corki then, let's just go back a second. So the Corki that has been picked here, Pengu has been one-tricking this in solo queue, I think. So this is both a denial and obviously it's extremely strong. There are a few things that you can pick into it. I guess Victor's still available, right? So it's like, that's a perfectly reasonable answer. Pengu's perfectly capable of playing that. The Jhin in response to the Jinx is an interesting one. It will be interesting to see what that is... paired up with. It is going to be a Karma. I do like this actually because this is going to provide a lot of early game prio. So much push here, and it's really going to allow basically a lot of priority for Crims, whoever he wants to pick up in this jungle. We are going to be seeing some jungle roles being taken away. I like the Ari here. I think the Ari's fine. I think it does quite well in in chasing the Corki necessarily, and it is just allowing Pengu to pick something up. And it also gives we've seen no picks so far from the jungles necessarily. So
yeah.
What do we think? I mean, the Volibear's not been picked. That's an important one so far, isn't it?
Volley hasn't been picked, and it's very, very popular. That is a very popular pick that we've seen a lot of, especially for Anti. He loves taking it into the top lane, and because it's such a flexible thing, and they haven't banned it out, kind of makes me think that Slowbro is like, look, I got this, guys. I can do this. Let him pick his top lane, and I will take him down myself. But we got Kiri. Sorry, I forgot.
Well,
it's not funny, Anti in the top lane today.
It's funny, isn't it? So So we will know. So Anti, we will mention that Anti, of course, has retired as the former season's MVP. Yes. So we have Kiri Alexion coming in as the replacement, and therefore I'm not sure how comfortable she is on the champion, but she's a Darius player, I think, is one thing. We do know this did get banned out previously in the first rotation. But with that,
I was gonna say, from the play I've seen out of Kiri Lexion, I like her more than Anti. Like, that's just a personal opinion. Like, from the way that they played, I thought that they did an absolutely phenomenal job on the Scion, the first game that we saw her out on, and I think that was really, really awesome. And I apologize for losing my mind there a little bit. My sanity's just went out the window.
Sharo, dude, we've seen the War Leader Anti combination. It is a legacy of FOF. So I don't blame you whatsoever. That does indicate, of course, why the Volibear isn't being given the same level of priority, because it isn't necessarily in Kiri's champion pool, where it was something that Anti and War Leader could happily flex between them and just play into whatever matchup they wanted. It is going to be picked against them, though. So that is a statement there from Crim saying, listen, I know what you're capable of on this champion. I am going to give you a little bit of a clinic right now. And it is going to be a Mordekaiser matched up into the Scion. That is quite interesting in of itself. It is going to allow for, once again, this is definitely going to be, a double AP solo lane damage profile. I think it's a little bit more risky here, because honestly the Jhin doesn't provide the same levels of damage, AD damage, that obviously a Hypercarry Jinx can pull out. So this Zac and this Scion, I think, are quite happy to stack up quite a bit of MR and might be fairly unkillable. We'll see what happens.
I am totally psyched for this upcoming matchup. I think the Mordekaiser Scion lane that's what I expected to be. I expected to be Mordekaiser Scion, and because of the way that I've seen Slowbro go. I don't expect us to see the Mordekaiser jungle, so I'm excited to see the way that top lane fight's going to play out. Exactly as you said, I'm leaning in the direction of RLS with just based on how this comp is, and I'm excited.
So War Leader picking the Zac into it. As I mentioned previously, War Leader this is another of his comfort picks. With so many junglers being taken off the table after that first rotation, I think this is absolutely fine. It still allows him to set up for potential ganks. I think he's likely going to be playing around escaping Tephra down in the bot side. Kieri is very happy just to play weak side up here on this Scion, just chill. I mean, obviously you might get some aggression from Crims early, but it's not the same situation thus far. We don't have to, we have a fairly safe bot lane. Yes, it's going to be pushed in on repeat from this Jhin Karma in the early game, but that is going to allow War Leader to potentially set up some ganks. So Crims is going to have their work cut out for them on this to respond.
That they definitely will. And with the way that this game is going to show up, I'm expecting it just to be the 5-man kind of like looky-loo sort of situation. Not expecting anything crazy. Although if Tephra is able to see a nice little hook, they're going to go for it.
For sure, and it's not quite the same, is it? I mean, if you're invading with a Thresh, it's not quite the same as invading with a Blitzcrank, but it is something they do have to be wary of, because for one thing, Scion is obviously quite strong in the early game. It doesn't look like it's going to be something we're going to be seeing this time around necessarily, but obviously RLS, how aggressive they are early on, so definitely something that Artivore might have been. They're familiar with this team. They know how they play. So I think, it's a bit more of a stare down this time around. Neither side wanted to give too much ground. Not going to see a burger flip straight away. So
Not straight away. It is something that I think RLS is going to have to watch out for because Art of War is definitely not a team to knock in any way, shape, or form because Oriri and that bot lane is going to have a decent amount of mobility with the Karma that's going to allow Jhin to move around a little bit more than you would expect them to be able to.
And no surprises, of course, that War Leader is going to be starting up there on the red side with a bit of a leash. He does start leashed, in fact, which is something that it works in his favor because he's going to be able to get down to that bot side relatively quickly, even with this full clear on Krugs. And we do expect RLS are playing this quite aggressively. I mean, this should be Art of War being able to get the push here with this lane. I mean, otherwise, why would you draft it? So I think that's what they're expecting. Even with these Krugs, he's going to be able to pull down here and potentially set something up, as long as they hold out until about level 3 or 4.
Yeah, no, they're already expecting to have an early gank coming out from War Leader here momentarily. So it's going to be really interesting to see what Crimes does in order to kind of mitigate that and get to see them finally out here on the Rift. They're one of the newer players as well. Curie taking a decent amount of poke damage from this Mordekaiser, but at the same time, Slowbro is taking a nice bit to chunk back themselves. Curie having to walk back, taking a lot more than they expected. That was a really good trade by Slowbro.
Yeah, Kyrie's got to be a little bit careful because Mordekaiser passive does a lot of damage early, and when you haven't got many tank stats on the board, he's got the ring on deck. That is going to force Kyrie to be pushed in. This is a little bit tricky. I mean, of course, because also War Leader is pathing away, anticipating some action on the bot side. So Kyrie's left on a bit of an island thus far, and it looks like she might get punished further because Crims is on the way.
Crims is actually trying to check out the rest of the jungle and has wasted valuable time allowing Kyrie to basically sit under tower and soak this up. That push actually really worked out in her favor, allowing her to get back to the safety of her tower without sitting out in the middle of the lane. So Slowbro kind of negated his own gank.
Yeah, he did, but on the other side of the map, we should note that I'm surprised at the level of see, this is what I'm expecting to happen in the bot side. So Jhin Karma, a lot of push early, a lot of early damage potential. Karma super strong early, Thresh not quite the same. So this is what we're expecting, but I'm amazed that RLS did manage to get the early bounce there, to be honest. And this is because they're going to have to, take this crash after that bounce. That actually doesn't allow War Leader to play to make too much happen because it is going to allow Art of War to get themselves a reset off. So yes, he does manage to get the crab and get control of the river, but we're not going to see too much action on the bot side just yet, actually.
That's true. We do see Crimes now making their way up to the top lane. Nice pull in by Slowbro in order to try and keep Kyrie in the middle of this lane. Kyrie does not have the vision of Volibear coming up behind them, but they do see that Slowbro is playing a little bit more aggressively. Didn't quite see them in the fog of war. Crimes is just skirting the edge of that, and this wave is unfortunately for Kyrie going to be pushing in the wrong direction. We do see the TP coming out though, the flash as well. That's going to be a nice pull by Slowbro, trying to pull Kyrie back in. But this is going to be the double knockup, and we are going to see Kyrie able to just slip away. Pengu Soul coming in for the save. That is a very low top laner and jungler. Zac coming in as well. He is going to manage to find Slowbro. That's going to be the flash coming out, trying to get a kill up, but that is going to be first blood going over to Pengu Soul as the Fox just becomes even more spicy.
Yeah, not much response coming out from the Corki either. I mean, he's going to be able to get the shove in, but I thought that TP was going to get punished a little bit further. But yeah, great stuff from Pengu Soul. Great presence of mind with the immediate TP the moment that Kyrie gets engaged on. And Slowbro had to burn his flash there trying to trade kills. So yes, he's got TP. He's not actually going to elect to use it because the Scion isn't pushing necessarily very quickly. So overall, that is going to put the Ahri ahead. And that is definitely something that is going to be working in RLS's favor. Just because, I mean, she's going to be able to apply a lot more pressure on this Corki now.
Yeah, and you want to put as much pressure on Corki as possible because you don't want him to get to that point where he's just chunking your health away with those rockets. And it's like, it's going to happen eventually. You just want to delay it as long as possible.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, in terms of poke, yes, there is a lot of range on the side of Art of War, which is not something we touched upon thus far. If we get into the fights, we have Corki, we have Jhin, we have Karma, we have... we do have a Mordekaiser to be able to deal with some of the immediate engage, but there is a lot of engage. How on?
Ooh, I like that. Nice kind of just hanging out off to the side. The sneak up by Volibear on the top of the lane. We got Kyrie getting jumped on by Slowbro. Slowbro is managing to get enough damage on to get the kill, go under the tower, take a little bit there, and that is going to mean they have to use the passive to farm up a little bit, which is one advantage to Sion. If you die under tower, it's like, hey, at least I can get a little bit more farm, a little bit more XP.
You know what's really nice for Kieri there is that she did actually manage to get 6, so she cannot back to lane.
Is that a TP I see coming out? From Corki. Sorry.
From the Corki, yes. That's fine. It is going to allow him to catch this wave potentially because Pengu was looking for a crash there, try to set something up in the river. We are seeing these members navigating down. Hold on. Okay, now... Nice. He's not got package, by the way, either. He TP'd without package.
He's going to get jumped on right there. AWE trying to get in there. Nitsuni is not quite the healthiest person in the world. That is going to be Pengu Soul coming in from one side. Nice Lantern to pull them over to the side of their teammate. However, that is going to unfortunately mean a lot of damage comes out. But look at that. The healing coming out. They are going to stay alive. And that is going to be RLS forcing AWE off of the dragon and getting themselves back into this.
Yep, and I mean, the Jinx gets online fairly quickly. That's going to be, even though Tephra picks up the kill there, it doesn't matter because once the Jinx is excited, then you immediately disengage if you're out of war. They don't lose too much necessarily. They do have to give a Drake away, but ultimately, it could have been a lot worse for them. Their health bars were quite low. There was an angle there where Escape just runs away with the game. So, a scary one. We do know also that Pengu Soul making some great use out of that, the sustain that's coming in from this new Ari. So great stuff from Pengu, really showing some, I love the way they're playing the champ already.
I completely agree. Look at this. Unfortunately, Slowbro is able to get Kyrie yet again. That is going to be the full charge knockup right there in order to get away. Smart play, able to pull back by the Scion. With the way things are set up right now, Zakin is probably looking to take this Rift Herald, but we do see Crimes is also pathing in that direction, so we could be seeing another fight in that area momentarily.
Yeah, but Slowbro's got, Slowbro, who actually had a fantastic showing in locking, you should note. I think he's been primarily playing Quinn at the moment, which we did see that get banned out, but his Mordekaiser's looking pretty strong at the moment. Yeah.
Ooh, good claw.
Yeah, and see, the problem is that once this champion's 6, then you really do have a hard time ganking him. So it is actually going to allow... Crimes is now also 6, so Kieri once again is left on an island and now really does have to be worried about the dive. It is going to allow Crimes to just, once again take full control of that topside jungle.
Oh, look at that, the nice pull from under the tower, try and get some damage out. Crimes in the meantime sitting over there by the Krugs, taking those out before coming in for the tower dive. We do have Volibear's ultimate available, so he's going to be knocking that tower out. Doesn't look like War Leader's going to find anything to do in the bot lane either. One thing I do want to point out is you were talking earlier about how the ranged is on Art of War's advantage, which it is. Look at that. We got the Death Realm coming out. Slowbro having to fight Kyrie under tower. I'm not entirely sure that's what they really wanted to be doing, even to the Death Realm. That is unfortunately going to be a kill going over for Kyrie. And we do see Crimes getting brought down low by the tower, but Sion just isn't quite able to catch up in time in order to do enough damage.
I don't know why you are... I don't know why you out there. I mean, I was just seeing Slowbro's praises. Yes, Slowbro has TP. Maybe he's just happy to sacrifice his life in order to get the trade under tower. He does get a massive crash. He could have probably waited for the Stormbringer, but nevertheless, it is going to just, net him an additional crash. He has got now a sizable CS lead. I think a little bit overzealous, but it works out. It is going to force Kieri to back.
We got Zach right there going out for the jump. He does not manage to get it. That is going to be a just missed hook by Tef, and unfortunately, Zach isn't able to get anything either. So here's what I think was expected to happen in that gank on the top lane. I think Slowbro expected Crimes to knock out the turret while he was in the Death Realm, which would have given him enough damage to take down Kyrie and then probably been able to escape. Because he wouldn't have taken 2 tower shots.
That's smart. I like that, Sharagan. That's actually you're definitely analyzing better than me at this time of year.
I am a Mordekaiser enjoyer, my friend. I love Mordekaiser so much, and if I were to have gone into that play, that would have probably been how I would have wanted it to happen. But unfortunately, miscommunication between top lane and jungler, as you usually see.
Yeah, and Kieri now, I mean, Kieri's starting to stack a bit of MR, so she's happy to trade, you know. At the moment, she's playing weak side, and she's not that far behind. She's not very far behind at all, to be honest, and
Yep.
I think she'll be very
Didn't quite
happy.
drop the hammer quick enough in order to get the knockup, but Kyrie has definitely got the health bar in order to deal with this fight right now. Slowbro, unfortunately, is having to wait for Crimes to come up. They do manage to see Crimes, almost pulling Nitsuni back into the charm, not quite able to do. Kyrie getting exceptionally low, unfortunately, is not going to be able to go down. She knows she's going to fall, so she's trying to get as close to Mordekaiser as possible. Isn't quite able to do it, so now it's just going after the Volibear, trying to hit the Volibear. Doesn't quite have the damage, though.
They've got to be a little bit careful because Pengu's roaming up now. That's going to force a base out of the Volibear.
It will force a base out of the Volibear. Pengu's going to have some free farm up there in the top lane, getting it under tower. I like the pressure Ward Leader's putting bot. I don't like the timing of it.
No, he's going to try for it again, though.
Here we go. They got a little bit too close this time. The hook's going to come out. It's finally going to manage to get the Ginge, but the cleanse is going to come out as well, and that means he's going to be able to escape. Escape, though, going to catch the lantern, get out of the curtain call, and is able to pull away. But unfortunately, here comes the Corki. That was a great package if they were on the other side. Unfortunately, that's going to be a lot of damage coming out. Jinx Rocket's going to go wide as it doesn't manage to find a target, but it's not going to matter as the rest of RLS is already here to take out the damage. The fourth shot, finishing off the Jinx as they take each other out. I think Jin would call that quite poetic.
He would, but it's a little bit of a tragedy for the side of War, to be honest. It was a superb package. Absolutely fabulous there from Nightsea, but it doesn't matter. Where's the damage after that? There's absolutely no follow-up damage. Yes, credits to Vionis to be able to actually trade kills there onto escape. But ultimately, you know, RLS picked themselves up the Drake. They're now be able to stack Drakes. It's another Ocean Soul, let us know. And the Ari is now very far accelerated. So whilst this Corki, yes, has the benefit of scaling, he's now really gonna struggle in lane, to be honest. Even with the item advantage just at the moment from the legendary item, it doesn't matter. Pengu, I think, is sitting on a mythic in base right now, and is already looking to snowball on this pick. I think this is, yeah, I'm really impressed with this play so far on the Ari.
I completely agree. I think that they've got a great thing going for themselves over here on Rapidly Losing Sanity, and they are able to get a lot of work done. Now it's just going to be about playing those objectives right. With package down, it does mean that we've got another couple of minutes before he's going to have it up again. So Corki's not going to quite have as stupidly large amount of power output as potential. Slowbro, you take a little bit more damage than you should.
The first item, Demonic, I do wonder about. It's nice, yes. You know, you do stack health and health AP percent health damage. That's very nice, but not a lot of you know, immediate damage spike, to be honest. And now he's really not taking very good trades.
Yeah, and see, the thing is, if you've got a Zac who's the enemy jungler, look at this, nice engage right here. Slowbro does drop down the Death Realm, is able to catch Kyrie Lexion out. Lexion not quite able to escape, though, and unfortunately they are going to fall here. We do see them going down, but they are going to be close enough to the tower. Nice bit of damage. The ult from Volibear does not shut the tower down, but with Slowbro, the art is going to get punched in the face a couple of times by Sion. And we are going to see they're continuing this push, which is really smart, but Pengu Soul is already up here. They kind of want to keep this fight going. Look at that damage coming out from the Corki Rockets. We do see the Charm manage to come out. Does manage to catch the Corki. Not quite enough damage to take him out, though. We do see Pengu Soul just limit testing right now. Diving in so close. Just get shut down by the hammer from Slowbro.
Oh my goodness, the Everfrost bite, it just not quite enough damage so far with that to be able to get the reset kill on the Corki. It's a little bit heartbreaking there for Pengu, as we obviously a replay here going, this is what was happening in the bot lane at the moment.
Right,
as
you see,
I love that.
Yep. Just so much damage from the 4-shot coming out. It's just immediately dive in, totally taking him out. And unfortunately, that's something you hate seeing.
I mean, I love seeing that. I love seeing Gale, Jin Gale Force 4th shot. That is poetic to me, Sharigan, but it does mean that, of course, as we're going to jump back to live, that is going to allow them to get a push in the bot side. They did have a little bit of a rough time. Art of War's bot lane did, and which, you know, is a little bit surprising, as I mentioned, because they do have the early game advantage with this Karma. but they're starting to make good use of it now. And they do have, as we look at the goal graph at the moment, there's a big lead in the top side, isn't there? But aside from that, relatively even across the board so far for Art of War, with a bit of the lead, and they are actually managing to make plays happen on all fronts. So yeah, it's great stuff for them. And as we saw from Pengu a moment ago, Pengu's the one with the goal, and the Everfrost just isn't able to do enough damage at the moment. So I do worry for RLS if we continue to play this out, because the Corki, as we mentioned before, has the benefit of scaling. They have the range advantage. So if they go in at this point in the game, they've got to be able to actually land some kills and get this Jinx online, because if they don't, then they're not going to have a great time in fights.
Look at this. We've already got the engage coming out on Kyrie, who did manage to catch themselves out. That is going to be 3 members of Art of War chasing her down. There's not really she can't really go anywhere, unfortunately. Does manage to ult under the tower, but the tower's not there anymore, so there's really, it's kind of, Crime's trying to dive in. They're going in really hard for this, and right now I think Kyrie is just trying to stall for as much as possible. That is going to be the Rift Herald going down for them. We do look at the bot lane, though, in the mid lane. That is going to be a lot of damage to these turrets. Mid turret should get taken down to about half health, and we should see the wave crashing into tier 2 bot. So they are trying to make some use out of that, but unfortunately, we now see that Art of War is going to start collapsing onto RLS.
Kyrie has been brutalized on this weak side Sion all game, and I feel for her, because if you look at if you press tab and look at the rest of the map as her now, the enemy team is taking Herald at the same time this is going on. That cross map is not the one, I don't think. They're going to put a little bit of pressure down onto this mid and bot turrets, but now RLS are recognizing they can't really take fights at the moment because they don't have any damage. They have a Gale Force on the Jinx, which our observers kindly pointed out a moment ago, which, it gets you away from some of these engages, but it just doesn't have that same amount of damage early either.
Look at this, the Curtain Call coming out. We do have the Storm Call coming down as well. That's going to be a lot of damage coming out, but Kyrie, very, very healthy. The Rift Herald's going to go down before too much damage. It does get the charge off. So that is going to be a lot of damage done to the mid turret. Now, basically, they're going to fight for this drag and try and zone off RLS. But RLS, I think they're going to want to fight for this.
They are.
Coming out, dive coming in. Pengu Soul does manage to get the charm off onto the Mordekaiser, who has taken Ari into the death room, probably a little prematurely. They're going to get caught out by 4 members of RLS as they come out of there, but that's the rest of the team coming back, as they did manage to take down the Drake. So RLS was able to steal that.
That was actually...
Yeah, I kind of missed the steal, unfortunately. I wasn't able to see that.
Yeah, well, credit to War Leader. Managing to, to hold things over. They have a soul win condition because they're going to lose their mid tower.
Look at that, Kyrie getting locked under tower. Mid tower is going to get brought really low. And unfortunately, it's just Tef and Escape are the only ones holding this back, and there's only so much they can do at the moment against 4 members of our Art of War.
Yeah, Art of War, they don't get the Drake, but they do get the mid turret. And it was, just to go back to that fight for a moment, I didn't see the package was still available from Nightsea there, and he completely splits up the team, which allows Slowbro to take Pengu Soul into the Death Realm uncontested. It does allow War Leader to get in and somehow manage to pick the steal up, even amongst all those members, but he goes down as well. And if we look at the winners from that fight necessarily, I mean, now the Mordekaiser is very strong at the moment. All of these tanks on the side of RLS just really aren't able to do much in extended fights. So, yes, they get the Drake. I think they'll be quite happy with that. But now they really do have to be careful, playing this out again. They have managed to pick themselves up some push in the top lane. So, the Baron, of course, is the next thing on the cards. That's just come up. So, who's going to be able to get vision in the river? That's the question. It does look like it's going to be Art of War.
It does look like they're going to get vision control for Art of War Esports. However... I do feel like RLS is basically just trying to look for these picks that they're able to get. Because you did, one of the things, I keep wanting to go back to this. You mentioned earlier, Art of War has the range advantage. They do. But the gap closers that are available to RLS should allow them to basically negate a lot of that outside range so they can make the fights happen when they need them to.
Of course, yeah. They have to coordinate it properly. And there has to be reset potential. They have... On paper, their comp does great in extended fights because they have an Ari and a Jinx, yes, but they need to be able to land a kill. At the moment in fights, they've not been able to land a kill. And that's why, you know, this top side for Art of War is becoming less and less killable the bigger and bigger they get. The Corki's hard to get on top of. The Jin is kind of hard to get on top of, as is the Karma, because they have disengaged, they're fast. So, yes, on paper, you know, if they are able to close the gap, that's brilliant. But if they get poked down too much by these rockets, by the curtain call, by the mantra Qs, etc., by even, you know, the thunder from the volley bear, then by the time they land the engage, they're just going to get blown up.
Yeah, it's definitely something they have to watch out for. However, letting Escape get Jinx is probably going to be one of the biggest mistakes that Art of War could have gotten. Look at that nice hook coming out. That is going to be a good one. Tef does manage to catch Crimes, stopping the engage. The Storm Call is going to come out. It's not going to find a target, though. Good Flay trying to pull Crimes into this fight. We do see the Curtain Call coming out, but unfortunately, the damage it's putting out just really isn't that much in that situation. So we do see that it just manages to kind of zone RLS off. In the meantime, we have the little bit of skirmish going on in the bot lane between Ahri and Mordekaiser, and Mortis having to back away as well.
He is.
Choosing to back away, not having to.
He recognizes War Leader's coming down, and obviously they do manage to dissuade that push for the mid turret, which is actually, I mean, again, you know, the yes and no damage is coming out from Curtain Call on full life targets, but it is allowed. I mean, Art of War, I'm denying RLS this opportunity. They want to take that mid turret because they want to get the push for the next straight. They've got Skull Point coming up in 1 minute's time. That is their win condition because it's still a very even game overall, but their carries don't have enough damage necessarily. Another key thing to note is that with this amount of pressure they're putting in the mid lane, is this Jinx going to be able to get a reset and get an LDR for the next fight? Because if she does, that's big. Because once again, Pengu's ahead, but Pengu is itemizing towards utility. We see a Banshee's Veil coming out, which is not an item. There we go. There we go. There's the Lord Dominic's. Now I do think RLS have an angle here, because if they engage, the Jinx gets a reset, she can carry the fight. You mentioned Escape is the factor here on that Jinx, and that could be what wins RLS this fight for Soul.
Yeah, and it's going to be really exciting here as we do see Dragon's going to be up here in the next 20 seconds, so it's going to get really exciting. RLS does have vision controls. They do have more vision of that. It kind of looks like Art of War is choosing to just... Nope, there we go. Never mind. They turned around. They were moving to the mid lane, so I was kind of confused as to what they were doing, if they were just going to give up Soul Point, which would have been really silly. Look at this. Nice engage. Death Realm coming out onto the Zac as he knows that he's going to have to fight these four. And unfortunately, that's going to mean that the rest of the team for Art of War coming up from behind. That's going to be a huge amount of damage as Bully Bear jumps right in the middle of it. But unfortunately, we've got Jinx in the back doing some nice shots. Rockets coming up. Not a lot of damage coming up.
Okay, there we go.
Front so low. Tef is down. There we go. Lots of damage. Escape managed to get the reset. Healthy and alive. Coming in. Getting the cleanup. Oh, come on. Take down that Corky. Don't get hit by those rockets. That's just going to get you killed. There we go. Zac helping clean it up. And we do see Pengu Soul has gotten these two down here very, very low. But unfortunately, they're going to get taken out as the Storm Call comes from the other side. We do have RLS trying to force down this Drake. They are kind of ready for it as they do see this is going to get really, really risky. They're going to do the turn right onto Crimes. Crimes is going to get hit with a lot of damage, gets the reset. Unfortunately, Escape does see that Jin is over the wall, gets the shutdown, and that is going to be RLS picking up the Soul.
I think he cancelled his auto. He was trying to kill War Leader with the with the shot and flashed it. Yeah, we'll go back for just a second there, as we do see this was what was going on, as that was a completely scattered fight, by the way. We're going to see this one more time, as the great use of the chompers, by the way, forces Crimes away. He gets destroyed immediately. Yeah, Wally didn't die there. He'd already used his passive, by the way. He had to use his passive in order to survive the Mordekaiser. I thought the RLS had messed up there. They engage onto a Mordekaiser who just says, you're going to engage on me. I'm going to make this a 1v1, sure. War Leader survives. He takes the brunt for his team on that fight. So none of RLS's carries get Mordekaiser ulted, which would have been disastrous. After that, it becomes a front-to-back team fight. It's a complete scrum because there's so many tanks in these comps. But as you mentioned, the Jinx starts getting resets. Pengu Soul on the Ahri starts getting resets. It becomes a scat fight on two sides. Complete shambles, but at the end of the day, the Jinx is standing. Jinx Jin, I'll take Jinx. As a hardcore Jin enjoyer, I will take Jinx any day of the week because, you know, Arcane, all of that good stuff. Doesn't matter. They take the Soul, and now RLS, it's still an even game. Baron is still on the cards, and that does look like where RLS are moving now, but they have that soul advantage, and again, it's more extended fights that they could be winning.
It is, and unfortunately, during that fight, I got the red Thresh mixed up with the reddish Jinx, and so I was kind of thinking that their health bars were the complete swap, so I thought Escape was about to go down a lot sooner. Look at this. Nice fight coming out here as we do have Ward Leader jumping in onto this top lane. For once, Kyrie is not the one who's in trouble, and we see that Slowbro is the one who's getting ganked, and that's going to be 4 members of RLS trying to take him out, but unfortunately not quite able to. Look at the damage the Rockets are doing now. Escape has come online and is so deadly, just completely obliterates the Karma. The health bar on the Mordekaiser doesn't exist. The Death God is gone. And that's going to be a Baron for rapidly losing sanity.
The Jin's gone and taken a mid push here, but the curtain call's available.
He's going to try for it, but it's not going to matter as we do see him getting pushed away by Ahri.
Once again, you have a weak side top laner. This time, Slowbro, is he going to try for it? No, he's going to base. Oh, that's a shame. I'd have gone for it anyway. You might as well at this point, because now the game's starting to slip out of your hands. Yes, the Corki Knightsy does manage to get himself a push in the bot side. That's a little bit of damage control, but now they have Soul, they have Baron, RLS. They've played around objectives well. They've always been a great team fighting team in FOF history, and they're showing how they do things once again in this game. They completely gang Slowbro, who, yes, he can ult, but if there's no follow-up afterwards, then he's just got to scratch his head and say, you know, my team was cross-mapping very nice, but they've given the Baron away. And now, yeah, it's a rough one.
That's a nice pull, but unfortunately, it's a really good siege that's available for RLS right here. They're able to take this fight really easily, just letting the minions do all of the work for them as the curtain call does no damage to these tanks. And so far, this game has been exceptionally close, just kind of flipping back and forth. And I know you talked about doing ooh, look at the damage that Corki's putting out right there.
He's had no resources funneled into him, but he is Corki. He's on 2 and a bit items. He hasn't completed his Ludens. When he completes his Ludens, then the poke's really going to start mattering, because all of these guys have been stacking. I mean, we do see a Spirit Visage coming out from the Zap, but there isn't a vast amount of MR on the side of RLS necessarily. We do have Pengu, of course, is sitting on the Demonic Embrace. I mean, I'll note sorry, not Demonic Embrace, Banshee's Veil. I will note, by the way, that the Banshee's Veil into a Corki is a bit of an itemization no-no. Some analysts would say, just because it'll get the shield will get popped immediately by the amount of poke you're playing into, but it hasn't mattered so far because it's been that crucial thing in fights. Just one thing to note, I think, Pengu, when you're watching the VOD, but never mind. We have an Elder coming up in 2 minutes' time, and it looks like both sides are trying to be pretty proactive and getting control of the river. Yeah,
so from a game where we didn't see a Soul to a game we're going to see Elder, just kind of going back and forth, which is always really nice with these Friend or Foe series games. They tend to do that. But one of the things is, again, I want to go back to this gold where it's like kind of flipping back slowly, back and forth, really, really quickly. Unlike a burger or a steak, the way you cook it, where you, like some will say, you sear one side for a good couple of minutes and then you flip it over, sear it another, and never touch it again, only doing 2 flips. There's another theory where you flip it every 30 seconds. Just keep on flipping back and forth to get your perfect steak. And I have a feeling that's what RLS has been doing, and they're going to be the ones who come out on top in this situation.
It is a perfect steak flip, as you mentioned, Charagan. We are going to be seeing...
Look at that nice bit of damage fight coming out right here. Tephra getting a little bit low, but that is going to be a good Corki package right there to just block off the entire team. That is going to be a nice slow as well. But however, RLS Escape is on a rampage as he has shown up and is just obliterating Art of War and showing you how you're supposed to win these fights.
I can love Arcane, Charo. You like Arcane?
I love Arcane. Although I'm a Vi fan myself.
I'm also Team Vi. But this game, I think RLS is Team Jinx. I think you didn't manage to touch the 3 and a bit item Jinx, who has quietly gone from being, a factor in the game to being the factor in the game. And the RLS veterans here, War Leader and Escape, are left. Yeah, Slowbro's just got to watch this, unfortunately for him. I mean, the burger flip...
He wants to do something, but he knows he can't.
They are going to reset and get themselves some temper for Elder. There is still a realm of possibility here. You mentioned the state flip. It's Pancake Day from tomorrow for us in the UK. So I'm going to call it a pancake flip. But the Elder pancake flip is there. And that is exactly where Art of War are beelining towards.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to clear out vision in their jungle. Look at the amount of vision that's sitting in their jungle. Pink wards are plenty, so they're not going to be, making a particularly, unexpected presence into the river. They do have poke though. There is, War Leader's got to
They've
have his
got
fight
poke,
on
but
ready.
RLS has gap closers. This fight is going to be absolutely huge. Corky Package is not back yet. Look at that. They're catching him right in the choke point, but the choke point is going for the advantage of RLS as it gets them right on their face. Unfortunately, Slowbro is going to be brought down almost immediately as this fight even starts. This is just going absolutely terribly. Sun Tzu would be ashamed right now as he watches this thing on RLS trying to catch it. Does manage to get the final rocket.
No.
That is going to be Jonas trying to get away. He's going to put the cleanse out to get that slow off. Is going to manage to walk away. That limp is not going to keep him too slow, but unfortunately, RLS is like, look, we don't need Elder Drake to finish this. Let's just push for the game.
One lonely Jin. I've been in this situation before, Sharo, and this one lonely Jin is not going to have a good time. I feel for him.
No.
Yeah. I'll know by the
it.
way. I'll know by the way that, honestly, I think the Volibear factor is what came into play because. Hold on.
Oh, we got the dance going though.
Yeah, beautiful.
Popstar Ari.
I will. In a poke composition, the fact that he was forcing the engage there was what I think really put the nail in the coffin for Art of War. But as you mentioned, yeah, Sun Tzu definitely, they have to go back to the teachings, I think, for their next game.
Yeah. I think Joshi would agree. You've got to fight around those choke points. And while Art of War did have the ranged advantage, the amount of tank that was forming a wall in front of Escape during that fight was just plenty, because he was able to just shoot over it, lob those missiles, get a nice bit of damage off before they could even get to him. And it was just, oh my gosh, it was so unfortunate. Overall, I think this is why you've got to, like, when you look at these two teams, RLS is a very scary team to fight against. Art of War was doing a fantastic job keeping pace with them, but just wasn't quite able to pull out the win in the end.
I think I've worked something out, Sharagan. I think I've realized why RLS have eventually settled with rapidly losing sanity, because that's what they're doing to
It's so important if you're not going to pick up that Jinx. And I know a lot of people don't play the Aphelios and whatnot. But yeah, going through that, we expected the quirky pickup to come from Nitsny. Nitsny's a super consistent player. Putting him on a pick like that is really smart. I think that was probably their best move in the draft. And then, yeah, we felt like we were comfortably winning bot lane. We're at a lane disadvantage. We can kind of throw back some gold a little bit. We're not too worried about that. War Leader had a phenomenal game in the jungle. They put a lot of focus into their top lane with Slowbro and Crims. And while that was short-term effective, it didn't really turn into anything but more kills on the Scion. And Kerry did an amazing job of just not struggling with that at all. This was a draft, like I said, that we just had planned in advance. Everybody was ready to deal with it, and everyone executed so well.
If I can get you to talk a little bit more about what it was like in this game, because as you say, Scion, Kyrie Alexion in top lane, she was just being chilling up there, making the Baus
No kidding.
Just super proud. So and even as you say, you were in the lane disadvantage early against the Jhin, and you folks were able to. I think the play that stuck out to me the most was they were hard committing to, I want to say, like the third or the fourth top dive on Scion,
Yeah.
which is cool. I think that they might have been using Herald for that one. I can't remember specifically, but then you folks were committed to getting tier 1 bottom, and I don't know if you got tier 1 mid on that one or if you just heavily damaged it, but like it was clear that you folks had a game plan. We're playing to the strategy that you wanted to have, which is we're not going to go play with these skirmishes top. Sorry. We're going to play around weak side top and commit to these plays and objectives bottom lane. So talk to me a little bit about what it takes to get this kind of cohesion going, especially as you say earlier, bringing in new faces into this lineup.
Yeah, I mean, obviously new faces to the scene, obviously not new faces to us. We know a lot of these people. We've played with them before, Kyria especially. And she has this amazing tendency to take 3-4 people in the top lane, get a trade back, and just cackle the whole time. It's not worth trying to invest time into tilting her. It doesn't work. It just feeds her ego. Like it's a bunch of wasted time. And one of the things that we had identified for playing this game out is obviously Jinx's massive win condition. Pengusul had honestly a very strong game on the Ahri. But we have so many things to disrupt any way that they could possibly win this game, which mostly revolves around Vionis and Nitsny being able to get ahead and deal a lot of damage in team fights. Obviously Nitsny began to, but the game kind of ended right after he had that chance. We knew that AW was going to overcommit to objectives. They do it every game. They've been doing it for 2 seasons. You send 4 people to a dragon, you need to send 1 4. And that is not me digging on you guys. That is the thing that I personally think you guys should fix. Just overcommitting to objectives. And we knew they were going to do that. We knew as soon as we saw them take Rift Herald, it's going to be 3 people topside. We can trade cross map for that. They do not have enough people to defend for us here. We did a lot of research into knowing, obviously we've played this team before. I presume most of their shot calling comes from Ariri. It's the same coaching staff as far as I know. They're making similar mistakes to past years, and obviously it's a new team, so you'd expect that. But it's punishing the same things that we've seen before. And we basically, again, we had this game already sorted out before waking up today. And they did not change up their play style at all. And as a result, our preparation was incredibly strong for us there. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think you said enough about this game. I did like seeing a plan come together, to borrow a famous turn of phrase. So this is a really good starting point for you folks. This is your first game on the first day. From here, this is quite a start. How do you see your goals coming into this 5th season, as well as the goals for RLS?
I mean, obviously only our 3rd season. It's our 2nd season in a league that we're legitimately competitive in. I think that we're trying to put a bigger focus on making sure that everyone has the chance to play something. We don't want to go into every game with a preset, like, okay, we have to, like, for example, next game is not going to be bot focused. We're going to play around something else. We're going to play about a different win condition. Different people are going to be able to do stuff. And the goal with that as a team is to make sure that come playoffs, none of the other 7 teams will be able to ban us. None of the other 7 teams will be able to predict what they're playing into us. And none of the other 7 teams will be able to beat us. So it's a lot of preparation time. And luckily we have these 14 games to try and make that work. But I think that if everything stays on track and we don't see some other teams trying to make some major strides, if we're just comparing against the level of improvement that we saw beginning to last season from the rest of the field, I am not too concerned about our ability to place well come the end of the season. I think we're still aiming to make it as far as we can. We're not dead set on winning this year by any means, but we're dead set on playing our best every single game and making sure that everyone has the opportunity to do something fun, and do it with style if we need to.
Awesome. Well, Escape, thank you so much for joining us for this interview, and congratulations on your first win of the season. Before we step away, any final thoughts you'd like to leave with us on the desk?
Oh, well, I mean, this is an RLS victory. I think everybody has seen this coming, and I saw a few people putting in the chat. I'd love to see it, everyone.
The line.
The friendship power was there. Another dub for the Ruby League server. Got a good voice crack in there and everything.
Yeah.
And obviously, for any of you guys who aren't tired of hearing my voice yet, you are going to be getting a cast followed up by the by RLS invading the FOF casting room. So if you weren't tired of us on the Rift, we're going in the casting box.
Yeah. All right, folks. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with our third game of the night with a little bit of RLS on the mic. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Constantly changing, always rearranging, always rearranging, always rearranging. Who we are, that is constantly changing, always rearranging, always rearranging, always rearranging.